I want to start today with a feeling that I think every single person listening has felt at least once.
Oh, definitely. Probably felt it this week.
Right, probably this week. It's the end of the day. You've been at your desk for 9, maybe 10 hours.
You've cleared the inbox.
Exactly. Inbox is 0. You attended every single Zoom call. You put out all the little fires. Technically, on paper, you were an absolute machine today.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get to your car or you just walk over to your couch and you just feel hollow.
Yeah, hollow. Hollow is such a specific word, isn't it?
It really is.
Because it's not just tired. I mean, you can run a marathon and feel exhausted, but really accomplished.
Yeah.
This is different.
It's this weird, ghostly sensation where you know you were incredibly busy, but you aren't actually sure if you created any real value.
Right.
Like you were moving, but were you actually going anywhere?
Yeah.
And that is exactly where we are digging in today. Welcome to today's deep dive. We are looking into a really fascinating stack of papers and excerpts from a text called The Pulse of Performance, Mastering the Art of Recovery.
And I have to say, this is a heavy hitter of a text.
It really is.
It's structured almost like a Socratic dialogue,
Yeah.
between a teacher and a student.
Mwah.
But don't let that fool you.
No, not at all.
It tackles very modern, very corporate problems. It's looking at the biology of burnout and the psychology of work in a way that is, well, it's pretty radical.
And the mission for this deep dive is super clear. We are going to try and debunk the myth that time at the desk equals professionalism.
Yes.
We're going to look at what this text calls the working trap and why trying harder usually leads to creating less.
Which is completely counterintuitive, right? Especially in the hustle culture we all live in.
Totally.
But the core argument here is that true high performance doesn't actually come from the grind. It comes from establishing what they call a culture of recovery.
So let's just jump right into the text. It opens with the student asking that exact question we started with.
The hollow feeling.
Right. The student asks, why is it that the more I do, the emptier I feel? And the teacher fires back with a question that, honestly, made me put the paper down and just stare at the wall for a second.
It's a very confronting question.
It really is. The teacher asks, why is the person who leaves late seen as dedicated, while the person who rests is seen as irresponsible?
And that right there is the default setting for almost every office I've ever worked in.
Exactly. I mean, if I see you at your desk at 7:30 p.m., I instantly think, wow, look at that dedication.
Yeah.
But if I see you taking a walk at 2:00 p.m., I'm thinking...
It would be nice to have that much free time.
Exactly. We completely equate physical presence with commitment.
But the text argues that this is a really dangerous confusion. We are constantly confusing motion with progress.
Right.
Just because you are vibrating in your office chair doesn't mean you are actually producing value. In fact, if you're just sitting there because you feel like you have to, you're likely destroying value.
And this leads us to one of the most incredible anecdotes in this research. I like to call it the nap room paradox.
Oh, this story is amazing.
You have to walk us through this because it sounds like a dream scenario that just turned into a corporate nightmare.
It really is a classic case study in how we misunderstand culture. So you have this high-stress bank, executive floor, really high stakes, millions of dollars moving around all day.
Stressful stuff.
Very. And the leadership decides they actually want to support their people. They want to address burnout because they're losing good staff.
Makes sense.
So they build a dedicated relaxation room right there on the floor.
And we weren't talking about, like, a janitor's closet with a beanbag chair shoved in the corner.
No. The source describes this as a legitimate sanctuary. We're talking reclining leather chairs, soft, dimmable lighting, really expensive sofas. It was designed to be the ultimate recovery tool.
And here's the crazy twist. It remained absolutely empty.
Completely unused.
For months, right?
For months, it just became a ghost town.
So weird.
Eventually, the company realized it was just a total waste of really expensive square footage.
So what did they do?
They ripped out all the sofas, put in a standard desk, and turned it into an office for a manager.
Unbelievable.
It literally went from a recovery room to just another overtime room.
So why? I mean, was the furniture uncomfortable? Did the room smell weird?
No, the furniture was totally fine. The culture was broken.
Oh.
The expert analysis in the text points out that walking into that room was a psychological minefield for the employees.
How so?
Because even though the room existed physically, using it felt like walking around the office with a giant neon sign on your chest saying, "Look at me, I am not working, I am slacking off."
That is the working trap in a nutshell. You can build the fancy room, but if the vibe says, don't you dare, nobody goes in.
The text actually uses a really specific term for this. It calls it organizational vibration, or frequency.
The frequency, right.
It argues that culture isn't what you paint on the wall. It's not the cute mission statement that says we value our people.
Right, culture is behavior.
Exactly. Culture is the unspoken signal of what gets rewarded and what gets punished.
So in that bank, the furniture said, please relax. But the frequency basically screamed exhaustion is mandatory.
Precisely. And here is the kicker, and this is the part that I think leaders really need to hear.
Okay.
Who are the people most sensitive to that frequency?
You're high performers.
Yes. The people who care the most about doing a good job are the ones who are most desperate to align with the culture.
So if the culture signals that exhaustion is holy, your best people will literally burn themselves out first just to prove they belong?
Yes. Because the slackers don't care.
Right.
They'll hide in the bathroom and play on their phones anyway, but your best people, they will run themselves into the ground to match that frequency. You cannot change culture with interior design. You can only change it by changing the signals.
That is tragic, honestly. Losing your best people because you sent the wrong signal.
Yeah.
Okay, so if the signal we are currently sending, this linear, nonstop grind, is wrong, what is the right signal?
Well, the source material pivots here into the biology of performance.
Right, and it makes this fascinating distinction between being a wire and being a human.
This is the fundamental error of the Industrial Revolution being applied to knowledge work.
Yeah.
We basically treat humans like machines.
Right.
Think about a copper wire. It conducts electricity. It's completely linear. You plug it in, electricity flows.
And it flows just as well at hour 1 as it does at hour 10.
Exactly. As
Yeah.
long as the switch is on, it works.
But we are not wires. I know I'm certainly not.
No, we're biological organisms. We are rhythmic. We operate in waves.
Yeah.
The text gets into the science of ultradian rhythms. Essentially, the human body has these natural energy cycles that last about 90 minutes to 2 hours.
And this connects directly to the 90-minute rule mentioned in the research. They actually did an experiment at a major corporation based on this biology, right?
They did. They completely restructured the workday for a test group.
Okay.
Instead of those marathon sessions, those 3-hour strategy meetings where everyone is just dying inside,
Oh, I know them well.
they implemented strictly capped 90-minute meetings with mandatory breaks in between. And they explicitly forbade those heroic meetings that drag late into the night.
I can hear the managers listening right now just panicking, like, we don't have time for breaks, we have deadlines.
Oh, of course.
So what actually happened to the output?
Energy and efficiency absolutely skyrocketed. It wasn't even close.
Just because they weren't fighting the biology anymore.
Right. The text explains that the human brain can really only maintain high-quality linear focus for about 90 minutes. That's the biological limit for most people.
Wow.
After that, you don't just get tired. You enter a state of what they call emotional depletion.
Emotional depletion. What does that actually look like on a Tuesday afternoon?
It looks like a total loss of focus. Your error rate goes way up, and crucially, you become irritable. You actually lose emotional regulation.
Okay, that makes so much sense. That explains why at 4:30 p.m., after 6 hours of back-to-back Zoom calls, I'm not just tired, I'm annoyed.
Exactly.
I'm snapping at people over tiny little email typos.
Because you are biologically compromised at that point. Your glucose levels are messed up, your neurotransmitters are tapped out.
Right.
And this brings up the sprint versus marathon law from the text.
Let's get into that.
If an organization tries to run a marathon at sprint pace where everything is urgent, everything is on fire, absolutely no breaks allowed, the first thing to burn is the people.
And the text has a really chilling line about what happens next. It says, when the people burn out, all that is left is process.
It's that hollow feeling again.
Yeah.
You end up with a company of empty shells who are basically just following the flow chart because they literally do not have the energy left to think creatively.
They can't solve complex problems.
No, they are just trying to survive until 5:00 p.m.
Okay, but I do want to push back on this just a little bit.
Sure.
Because surely there are times in the real world when you actually have to sprint, right?
Absolutely.
If it's the end of the quarter or you're launching a new product or it's tax season, you can't just tell a major client, hey, sorry, my 90 minutes are up, I'll see you tomorrow. That just doesn't fly.
That's a very fair point.
Yeah.
The real world has crunches. But the source material actually addresses this head on.
Okay, how?
With a story about a sales team during their survival guide period.
Right, the survive mode.
This was their absolute peak season. Constant travel, client dinners, extremely high pressure, huge quotas to hit.
The ultimate grind season.
And usually, the traditional corporate advice for this is buckle down,
Push through.
drink more coffee, sleep when you're dead.
Right. Embrace the suck and show us what you're made of.
But this team did the exact opposite. Their strategy was totally counterintuitive. The new rule they implemented was the higher the demand, the more frequent the rest.
Wait, break that down. The higher the demand, the more frequent the rest. That sounds physically impossible when you have a 14-hour workday ahead of you.
It sounds impossible until you look at the actual tactics.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't taking 3-hour naps in the middle of the day.
Right.
It was all about micro-recovery. So they cut out alcohol completely because that destroys sleep quality.
Makes sense.
They exercised in the morning to spike their metabolism. They ate small, frequent meals to keep their blood sugar stable so they didn't have those afternoon crashes.
Okay.
And above all, they prioritized sleep above everything else.
So they basically treated themselves like elite athletes during the Olympics.
That is exactly the comparison the text makes. Think about it. An Olympian doesn't train harder the night before the gold medal match.
No, they rest.
They recover harder, they visualize, they rest up. Because they need to be at 100% capacity when the starting gun goes off.
That's a great point. So what was the outcome for the sales team? Did they actually hit their numbers with all this resting?
Not only did they hit them, but the clients noticed something noticeably different about them.
Really?
The clients reported that the staff seemed sharper, more present, and way more focused than the competition.
Wow.
And this leads the text to completely redefine professionalism. Professionalism isn't about endurance. It's not about who can stay awake the longest staring at a screen.
Right.
It is about maintaining sharpness.
I love that metric, sharpness. Because if I'm hiring a consultant or a lawyer or, I don't know, a pilot, I don't care how hard they worked yesterday.
Exactly.
I only care how sharp they are right now while they're handling my case or flying my plane.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But there is a massive structural trap in the corporate world that prevents us from seeing this clearly. The source calls it the hourly trap.
Ah, yes, the absolute bane of the corporate world. The idea that we are paid by the hour, or at least evaluated by the hours we are visible at our desks.
It's a fundamental flaw in how we value knowledge work today. The text points out a great example. If a project is paid by a flat fee and you finish it in 4 hours instead of 8, that should be a massive victory.
Because it's efficient, it's profitable, you got the job done.
Right. But in a normal office, if you finish your work brilliantly at 2:00 p.m., what actually happens?
You get punished for your efficiency.
Exactly.
You get 3 more files dumped on your desk. Or people look at you sideways and whisper that you obviously don't have enough on your plate.
So what does the system actually teach you to do? It teaches you to slow down.
Right.
It incentivizes you to drag 4 hours of actual work into 8 hours just to look busy.
It turns busyness into a badge of honor. No one asks, hey, what value did you create today? They only ask, how long did you sit there?
And that completely destroys the rhythm we talked about earlier. You can't have high performance and recovery if the recovery phase is viewed by management as theft from the company.
That is such a good way to put it. Okay, so we've really diagnosed the problem here. We've got the nap room paradox proving that culture matters way more than furniture.
Yep.
We've got the biology proving we are rhythmic, not linear. And we've got the hourly trap messing up all of our incentives.
It's a bit of a perfect storm for burnout.
So how do we actually fix it? The source material outlines these 6 lessons for a culture of recovery. And I want to go through these because they aren't just high-level corporate fluff.
No, they're very actionable.
Right. They are actual behavioral changes that a leader or, honestly, even an individual can start doing immediately.
Let's do it. Let's walk through them.
Okay, lesson 1, results over hours.
This is the foundation of the whole thing. You have to stop measuring value by the clock. The text says we need to treat people as adults.
What a concept.
I know, right? Adults can choose their own methods. If they can produce the required result in half the time, that is a win. You have to judge the output, not the attendance.
It sounds so simple, but it requires a massive amount of trust from leadership.
It does. It requires moving from a culture of control, where you are constantly watching over people's shoulders, to a culture of genuine trust. You trust them to get it done.
All right, lesson 2, the 90-minute rhythm. We touched on this, but the text gets really specific about the afternoon slump.
Yes, it specifically mentions the 3:000 p.m. to 4:000 p.m. danger zone. We've all felt it.
Every day.
That moment where you are staring at a spreadsheet, your eyes are just totally glazed over, and absolutely nothing is happening in your brain.
And usually that's exactly when we reach for a coffee or a donut just to try and punch through it.
Which is the exact wrong move biologically. The lesson here is to design a true recovery break right in that window. Work deep for 90 minutes, then actually disconnect.
Like step away from the computer?
Walk away from the screen, go outside,
Hmm.
reset the brain. Don't sit there fake working when you're incapable of doing it. You're just burning fuel for absolutely no reason.
That brings us to lesson 3. Leaders must model rest. This one feels super crucial because of what we said about the nap room earlier.
It all goes back to the signals. The text says, culture watches behavior, it doesn't listen to speeches.
That is a great quote.
If you are a manager and you tell your team, hey everyone, work-life balance is super important, but then you are sending out emails at 11:30 p.m. on a Sunday.
You're a hypocrite. And your team knows it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they will copy your behavior, not your words.
Yeah.
They will think, oh, to be a successful manager here, I have to work on Sundays.
Right.
The leader has to be the one to leave early sometimes.
Hmm.
The leader has to be the one to openly say, guys, I am taking a walk to clear my head. That gives unspoken permission to everyone else.
Okay, lesson 4, CAP meetings.
No meetings longer than 90 minutes, period. The rationale here is brutal, but so accurate. Long meetings don't generate wisdom. They generate fatigue and ego.
Fatigue and ego. I feel like I've been in that exact meeting 1,000 times. After 2 hours, people are just talking to hear themselves talk.
Or they're just agreeing to really bad ideas just to make the meeting end so they can go eat lunch.
Decision fatigue is real.
Very real.
All right, lesson 5, fuel the body.
This is about avoiding the quick fix we talked about. The office donuts, the sugar bowls, the endless pods of cheap coffee.
The survival gear.
Right. But these cause massive energy spikes and then terrible crashes.
Mm-hmm.
The lesson is to treat food and sleep as fuel for performance, not as a luxury you indulge in only when you have free time.
It's weird how we treat our cars better than our own bodies. You wouldn't put watered-down cheap gas in a Ferrari, but we dump pure sugar into our system at 3 p.m. and expect elite high-performance output.
And then we wonder why we stall out on the side of the road at 4.30.
Exactly. Finally, lesson 6, flexible timing.
This one is all about respecting energy. The text uses the traffic example, which I really love.
Oh, yeah.
Why force an employee to sit in gridlock rush hour traffic for an hour, wasting massive amounts of mental energy and building up stress just to arrive at a desk at 9:00 sharp?
Right. If the job doesn't strictly require them to be physically present at that exact minute, why not let them come in at 10:00 or work from home for that first hour?
Exactly. Let them use that prime morning energy for the actual work, not for road rage. It's about being smart with your team's limited fuel supply. Why burn it on the freeway?
That makes total sense. So pulling this all together, the teacher in the text sums it up by saying, we need to move from a place where people endure work to a place where people live and contribute.
It's a massive shift in mindset, moving from survival to actually thriving. And there's a really beautiful insight at the very end of the source material that just struck me.
What was it?
It says, when people recover, they don't just work better, they live more beautifully.
Wow, that hits hard. Because this isn't just about the company's bottom line or squeezing out a little more productivity to get a promotion. It's about the human being.
Right, because if you are constantly depleted, you aren't just a bad employee. You're probably not the best parent or partner or friend you could be either.
You're hollow everywhere.
Exactly. You have absolutely nothing left to give to the things that actually matter outside of the office.
So the final mantra from the teacher is, do not build a work culture on exhaustion. Build a culture on the rhythm of recovery.
It's a real call to action. It's asking all of us to look at the signals we are sending out every day. Are we rewarding the martyr who sleeps under their desk? Or are we rewarding the true professional who sets strict boundaries so they can be sharp and effective?
It really makes you rethink the whole definition of a hard worker. Maybe the hardest work is actually having the discipline to stop.
I think that's exactly it. In a world that constantly screams more, 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 the most radical thing you can do, and honestly the most effective thing you can do, is to stop, recover, and come back stronger.
I love that. We're going to leave you with the provocative question posed at the very end of the source material. It's something for you to really chew on this week, whether you are running a giant company or just trying to run your own life.
The question is this. Are you living in a culture that worships busyness or respects recovery? And if you have the power to change the signal, what signal will you change this week?
Maybe it's not sending that email after hours. Maybe it's actually taking a real lunch break away from your desk. Whatever it is, try changing the signal. Thanks for diving in with us.
Rest well, everyone.